horrible. There's no point. There's only a couple vehicles that serve any use. This walker is one of them, as it allows you to jump ridiculously high. And that does add to the platforming aspect of the level. So this is an interesting part, but everything else is pretty much useless except the birds, which are, again, another interesting part of the gameplay, I guess. But regardless, the majority of the vehicles, the standard cars you run into and the motorcycles, are completely pointless. The game did do one thing in terms of the combat, by allowing you to use Shadow's Chaos powers at certain times. There's two Chaos powers you can use. Chaos Blast and Chaos Control. And I do like this, but there's a few problems with both. First of all, Chaos Blast is ridiculously overpowered. You'll be able to use it multiple times. Now, looking at it, you think this would be a tactic that would only be used once. But I used it 4 times in this part. It's ridiculous. There's no reason that you should be able to use that attack more than once. It makes the game too easy.
The real problem with Chaos Blast is that its radius is way too small. I think that it would be better if the radius was about twice as big, but it only worked once. Otherwise, there's no real problem with having it multiple times, considering how small the blast radius is.
Chaos Control is a different story entirely. Again, it makes the game too easy by letting you bypass everything. But this is also a problem in terms of certain missions, because some missions require you to, like I said before, kill every single enemy. And Chaos Control goes past those enemies, meaning you are required to backtrack.
Okay.
In order to go back and finish off those enemies you missed because you used Chaos Control. This is annoying as hell. And
you want to know what would have made Chaos Control a lot better? If it was entirely optional to use. Oh wait, it is! Personally, I prefer the invincibility and unlimited ammo that you get in standby mode over using Chaos Control or Chaos Blast.
Another thing! Chaos Control has a glitch where if it stops over a pit sometimes, it won't go all the way over that pit and you'll fall to your death.
He's going to say usually it works, and this only happens rarely, but when I saw this video for the first time, I had to pause the video and take a 5-minute break. Why? Do I have to show you that part again?
Now, granted, usually the game is coded so that Chaos Control will keep going until you're past you're past the pit. But there is a glitch that will occur where you fall directly into the fucking pit.
You didn't actually put that much effort into the video footage because you can tell that he just plays long streams of gameplay at one time. However, the part where he just like tried to run through a pillar and where he kicked in the air to try and hit the enemy, it was laughable. I'm sorry if that makes me sound bad, but it's really what I think. It's like, what the hell? As for that Chaos Control glitch, I can proudly say that within my 5 years of playing this game, that has never happened to me. There were some times where there were platforms, like land, air, where it stopped above the platform and I held forward and fell onto the cliff, but that was really it.
Now, one last thing to talk about in terms of the combat. The weapons. One thing this game was built around was the fact that Shadow would be using weaponry, and depending on who you were, this was a good or bad thing. I had mixed feelings on it, and now looking back, I thought it was a stupid idea. But I dealt with it, and I can still deal with it even now. This isn't too big an issue in my opinion, as the weapons are actually surprisingly well done. Now, some of them look ridiculously large, but some of them are supposed to be that big. And there is a wide variety of weapons you can use. Besides the human weapons consist of regular pistols, to many different types of machine guns, different types of rocket launchers, some lock-on, some not. And the alien weapons consist of mainly laser guns, and some melee weapons, surprisingly, there's a sword, and there's secret weapons to unlock. So Sega did take some time with this, in terms of the weapons, but there's a few issues I have with the weapons too. for example, the machine gun. There's really no difference in terms of which machine gun you use. They all pretty much do the same thing. There's no noticeable difference in damage. Now, I prefer some over others, but that's usually just for how they look and not for how much damage they do. Because, like I said, there's virtually none. And the rocket.
I'm having a hard time keeping up with you. Did you just say that the machine guns do no damage? I thought you were talking about Shadow's fists when you said that, remember?
Launchers, I never use, for the simple reason that they don't do nearly enough damage for being rocket launchers, and the ones that aren't locked on are so hard to aim, because with the machine guns, Shadow will aim it automatically, but the rocket launchers, you have to aim manually, and like I said, aiming it manually isn't worth the amount of damage you're going to get out of it, because by the time you finally aim and fire, you would have killed the enemy already using a standard machine gun. And the aiming weapons are pretty much the same as the UN weapons, only they fire lasers. There's really no difference in terms of the weapons besides how they look. Once again, I must reiterate.
Was reiterating necessary?
Some weapons are better than others, like the lock-on rocket launchers are really useful. I do like those. And overall, I will give the game credit in terms of how they did the weapons, but this is a Sonic game. Why are there weapons?
I know it's part of the Sonic franchise, but who's the character really holding the gun? Sonic or Shadow?
It's not necessary! But like I said...
Thanks for repeating what he said, Archie.
Compared to how the game operates, the weapons are a very minimal problem with the game. The in-game cutscenes in this game are really, really poorly done. Besides the fact they're running in-game engines, so they don't look good at all. Like I said, the character models are shiny for no specific reason.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. I like the shininess. Yes, the backgrounds, such as the buildings, aren't that great, but Shadow, Sonic, etc.
They just, some of the character movements and some of the lip syncing, just not everything else about them, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't play out very well at all. And this cutscene will lead us into another issue of the game, the boss fights. Besides the fact that they are way too few in number, the boss fights are really aggravating in the sense that they're way too
now we're talking.
Easy.
Bring it on.
Way too easy. Most of them are, anyway. There's very few that are hard at all. This one is just so pathetic. Because what you actually have to do is, there's a very simple way to beat him. Go around and kill all his little minions. Do that until your Chaos Control bar is up. Then, use Chaos Control. It works differently in boss mode. It'll slow down time around you so Shadow's running faster than everyone else, and just unload on his face! And he dies! That took like 2 seconds!
The joys of speedrunning. Also, finding out these ways to defeat the bosses really quickly was fun to do.
And some boss fights are just annoying.
You know what they say, the more the merrier.
Stop saying that!
The more the merrier.
So
Now, I'll admit that I hated that too, but you showed way too little footage to actually prove your point. You should have shown the whole battle. You would have said it like at least 12 times in rapid succession.
I've gone over almost every issue I have with this game, with the exception of one.
We're done.
And that issue is this.
Hey, Shadow.
Hey, Shadow.
Hey, Shadow.
Hey, Shadow.
Well, if it isn't Shadow.
Think we can make it down there?
Oh, it's the voice acting!
How long have people been fighting over this now?
Shadow the Hedgehog is the first Sonic game to be dubbed by 4Kids, and it shows because at this time the 4Kids voice actors had no time to improve, and they just sucked out loud.
Even Archie agrees with you. Watch Sonic X, then watch the voice acting in this game, and see which one's better.
Their voices consisted from the brutally annoying
Woohoo! Now we're talking. Bring it on.
to the just plain wrong on so many levels,
Have you tried going up?
to the really, really weird.
Find the computer room.
I cannot stand this! Like I said, at this time, 4Kids had just sucked out loud!
Here's 2 words of what I think about the voice acting. Mixed bag. Some characters, like Shadow, are better. Some characters, like Sonic, are about equal and I can care less about. Some characters, like Vector, aren't that great. I'm not going through the whole list, though.
And Shadow's voice, while his voice is actually pretty good, which I'm happy for, the problem I have with him is that he seems to swear for no reason at all.
Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
It would be nice if you had a little bit more evidence, but okay. Besides, don't you think that you're swearing a little bit too much?
Why is swearing necessary in a Sonic game?
Oh, Sonic! I thought I'd never see you again.
Also, what's wrong with mild swearing? Based on your language, you seem to be okay with using fuck all the time. Why can't Shadow use damn and hell?
Damn, we've been detected.
Oh, FPL's doing it too! That's brilliant! Sonic is not a series that requires swearing. It doesn't need to be all hardcore and awesome. We got guns and swearing. We're totally awesome. This is so unnecessary! Ugh.
Just because it's unnecessary doesn't mean that it can't be put in. And again, I must repeat myself. What is so damn wrong with the word damn?
As for the voices, well, at least they're not all talking at the same time.
Back off, you slime ball!
Oh my god! You didn't do this!
Hey, if I was being eaten by aliens, I would scream regardless of how many people are screaming around me, too.
What is that?
Shut up! God! I hate the 4Kids voices in this game!
You seriously can't stop showing black?
They have improved, but back then, everyone knows. The 4Kids voice actors were just so brutal. And as for the rest of the game, it boils down, if you get all the endings, it boils down to an epic battle with Blackbeard. And I honestly had some fun at this point. Because, well, you got to use Chaos Sphere, which I thought was pretty cool. They actually let you use Chaos Sphere, which they really should have done in Sonic Next Gen. And that I will give the game credit for. It's definitely not nearly as bad as Sonic Next Gen. There are fun parts of the game. It doesn't make up for everything.
And yet you gave them both the same score. You're making this so easy that it's boring.
It doesn't make up for everything else. There's so many issues I have with this game. And I have played this game and beaten it all the way through. I reserved it. I thought this was going to be good, but Sega screwed us over again.
I said it once, I'll say it again. Although Sega owns Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Team makes the games.
They really did. Well, that's all I really have to say about this.
Goodbye forever, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Isn't gameplay the entertaining part?
Find the computer room! Find the computer room! Find the computer room! Find the computer room! Find the computer room!
Find the Chaos Emerald.
Find the computer room!
I'm gonna repeat what I said earlier. You should have done that with the Eggman battle where he said, you know what they say, the more the merrier, to help get your point across. So that's it. And as you could tell, Archie barely did anything besides being annoying. Whoever put that there, shame on you. Maybe I should commentate more on this guy. One last thing, this guy named Some Call Me Johnny decided to do a look back on Shadow the Hedgehog. All this guy did was call it shit, give the main plot, gave extremely counterable arguments, and asked the game for an apology. He also did a nostalgia critic joke, which he does in pretty much every single one of his videos. Chief Shadow 1750 did it a lot in his commentary, but at least those ones were funny. His two nitpicks were, oh, I can't aim a rocket launcher because I don't know that it sacrifices aim for power, and that he pressed the A button one too many times and he died. I think he's just trying to please the crowd. The things people are willing to do for ratings.